First, we've got the project that I know you'll have questions about that's underway on Palafox Street, but it's a great week for progress at the city, of course, for the huge event tomorrow that's years in the making, which is our Center for Maritime Excellence at the Port of Pensacola. The ribbon cutting will take place at 3 o'clock, and the most important part, obviously, formalizes our long-term partnership with American Magic, and it really, as I've said for so long now, establishes our city as the preeminent home for sailing and watercraft innovation in the United States. It's an honor. It's certainly an honor to get to lead the city at this time, such an important time, and equally honored for tomorrow to happen alongside the wonderful team behind me. And with the event tomorrow, and there's lots of all these different parties involved that make a project like this happen that are outside the city, I wanted to take today ahead of that tomorrow to that we are one cog in the wheel that allowed this amazing thing to happen. But the cog is pretty big, and you see that everybody behind me, from economic development staff, and I'll mention everybody, our port staff, our vendors. This is just the city cog in the wheel of making something transformational happen. And so I say all the time, it's certainly a day one focus of my administration, but vision is half the battle, or maybe a little bit less. Execution is what matters. And so I'm certainly proud to lead the city at this time. And there certainly would be no ribbon cutting tomorrow without Erica Grancagnolo and Anna Kate Pagans from our Economic Development Office, our port team, Jamie McLaughlin, Kenny Emberton, Kevin Boyer, Lance Scott, Shep Coggins. Green Hunt Construction is up here as well, did an awesome job getting the project across the finish line. And I wanted you guys to hear from our leadership from these different organizations, and then we'll have Tyson on, the CEO of American Magic. You're not excluded. Come on up. Have him share a few words as well. But I'll start with bringing up Erica Grancagnolo.
Good morning. Well, it's been my absolute pleasure to work with Tyson and the American Magic team over the last few years to bring this amazing vision to reality. Thanks to significant investments from Triumph Gulf Coast, the Governor's Job Growth Grant Fund, and the Florida Seaport Transportation and Economic Development Fund, we now have the beautiful $20 million, 56,000 square foot facility you see today at the Port of Pensacola. So what does this mean for the city from an economic development perspective? It means 170 high-wage, cutting-edge jobs. It means partnerships with our educational institutions that are already underway, with interns from UWF and PSD already employed with American Magic. It means co-location with the University of West Florida Watercraft and Vessel Engineering Program, otherwise known as WAVE. It means that our kids will have opportunities in the engineering and technology fields here in Pensacola that can't be found anywhere else in the U.S. It means that parents like me, whose son just accepted his admission to UWF last night, can feel confident that our kids are getting the best education with the best possible career opportunities with organizations like American Magic, IHMC, and the soon to be announced Project MAVE right here at home in Pensacola. So thank you.
Thanks, Mayor. And good morning. I'd just like to echo Erica's comments there on the significance of the completion of Warehouse 10 at the Port of Pensacola. And I think this is just the first step in realizing the vision of a hybrid seaport that does traditional cargo maritime ops and then becomes this center of excellence in terms of advanced manufacturing and maritime innovation. And as Erica mentioned, with future prospective clients, I think we're just at the cusp of really starting to change the face of Pensacola. And I certainly want to thank Tyson and his team at American Magic. They are an ideal tenant, a true teammate and team player, and we're excited about what's ahead. So thank you.
And I'll bring Tyson up. I'm sure I'll mention this tomorrow, but I said I know the sleep schedule of Tyson. He wakes up earlier than I do, and I go to bed later than he does. But lots of phone calls and lots of work to get here. And again, on behalf of the city, thank you for believing in us, and we're excited to have you. So, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. First of all, I just want to say how honored we are to be here. As the team, we first were looking for a location to go in 2018. We came down to Pensacola. we stumbled across a community that is unlike no other. We have traveled all around the world with our team, and ultimately, you go to communities and quite often you're there for an event and then you leave. But when we come here, it's truly become a home. We have so many team members now that have bought homes in the community of Pensacola, and as Erica talks about, we've hired a lot of local staff to join the team here, which is great because ultimately what we do every single day is all about teamwork, partnerships, collaboration, all the rest of the things that we talk about. And ultimately, without the support of the local community, we couldn't do anything we're doing. I sort of think about everybody being involved with this project, and I think of the early days of the project, you know, DC, Erica pounding the pavement and sort of trying to get this off the ground. And without all the hard work that those guys did and the vision they had early on, we would not be standing here today. And then once we got past that step in the sort of the road, bringing Greenheart Construction on board was pivotal. We sort of went through a few iterations of what the building was going to look like, but having a group that is very can-do attitude and vision based on what it looks like for the community and working together has been absolutely amazing. And, you know, I think Ryan, you know, his team on site, you know, Pat, Tanner, Danny, they've been absolutely amazing. They've become more like teammates for us than contractors. And I'm really nervous that at some stage Ryan's going to take them to another job, but hopefully he leaves them with us for our little touch-ups everywhere around the building. But then to Lance and his team board, you know, obviously we've got a long relationship with the board, and those guys are used to all the mail coming in the front office, Jamie dealing with us, and Van, you know, welcoming our team so well. But, you know, genuinely without, you know, the Kennys and the Chefs of the world, these operations would not happen. And it's not all about one person, it's about a wider team. That's what we're here representing today. I want to make sure that, you know, we echo everybody's thanks to the whole community for all their support for our team. Thank you.
Just we'll have a few other things to cover, but wanted to open it up for any questions for Erica, for Lance, for Tyson. Got it all covered. A little bit of housekeeping. Just I know that a press release will be coming out officially right as the event is happening or right after the event. So we'll have a joint press release with American Magic. If you have not RSVP'd as media, make sure or stop Tyson before we're done here today in terms of getting on port. Lance is not going to let you on port if you haven't RSVP'd. So we run a tight security ship over there, and I believe we're letting media on around 2:15. To get set up with cameras. So photographers, all that, videographers, anybody that needs to be on that list, make sure you get with us today. And that's all that we have. Yeah, go ahead.
Mayor, I got one question for American Magic. Where do you stand with the America's Cup competition as of today?
Yeah, that's a great question. I won't go too deep into it because we've got some exciting announcements tomorrow afternoon about what the future of the team is. And ultimately, we love the sport of sailing, and we all grew up in the sport of sailing. And for me, whether it's, you know, foiling, non-foiling, America's Cup, Sail GP, Olympic sailing, you know, our role in the sport is to grow the sport across all disciplines. And we've got some exciting announcements about that tomorrow afternoon, so I look forward to seeing you there.
I have a follow-up question, kind of on this similar line, but I guess, can you kind of talk about exactly what you're going to use this building for if it's not the Americans?
Well, just to be clear, this building is going to be used for sailing, and it's still the main pillar of our team and our organisation. You know, we're a performance race team, and that's how we operate every day, and that's what we always will be. The building and sort of our team has evolved a lot since we first started, and, you know, as we're going to talk about tomorrow, like when Palafox, Roger Penske, and Doug DeVos started this team, they started the team with one goal, and that was to win. That goal hasn't changed. It's just that goal now is over multiple disciplines, in sport of sailing, and obviously in the industry. And when I think about what the team looks like today, as opposed to when a lot of us joined the team in early 2018, it's very exciting for the future, because the team, originally what you guys will see is 8 to 10 athletes on the TV that are racing one boat. Now the team has that element to it, but it also has the design, technology, innovation, manufacturing side of the commercial marketplace. And what I think is amazing for Pensacola about having all that within the team is it creates more opportunity. And I love it when Erica stands up here and talks about keeping the kids in the same community. You know, I'm a parent with 3 young kids, and I love the idea that we can raise them in Pensacola and then have, higher paying technology jobs right here in the community that at the same time gets them out on the water.
For the mayor, I guess, can you talk about, I guess, the opening of this facility and kind of what it means for the future of the port itself, as far as industrial versus high tech and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think this falls right in the wheelhouse of everything that I understand as needs that this port that certainly precede me. We talk about being a deep water port for 241 years. We talk about being a lumber town and having 16 wharves on our waterfront in the 1900s. And I think the next chapter, while all of that, we talk a lot about history in the city, rightfully so. I think what we're rewriting now is, I think, the perfect combination of a finite size port in the heart of a downtown that now we don't just talk about nostalgia, we talk about being on the cutting edge of innovation between this project, Project Maeve, and other things that we have in mind, is that finding that happy medium. And I grew up in this community. There used to always seem to be two camps. One was a heavy cargo industrial port, or I don't support them. And I think what we're proving with this project and moving in the future is no, there's actually harmony between the type of activities that can happen on port that put our kids, our community in a wonderful position to have high paying jobs that also uniquely need this type of port in this type of location. And so, I'm proud to be mayor at a time where I feel like we found that happy medium, and I think we're going to continue to see, thanks to all of these folks behind me, we're going to continue to see that evolve into that we can have it all. We can have maritime focused jobs that need to be on the water, that need to be on port. That isn't just whether you support cargo or you don't support cargo. I think we found our niche, and I'm looking forward to continuing to grow it.
The footprint of American Magic. Originally, it was this one building. I know temporarily they had been moving into another warehouse. Is that footprint, are they going to stay in more than one building now?
Yeah, that's a good question, Tyson. I know they're in Warehouse 9 now, Warehouse 10. I would have to defer to Tyson on what his future plans of the second building.
Thank you. You really put me on the heat there. I'm actually working with Lance on that right now. Sort of as we talked about before, our team's evolved so much in the last sort of 15 months. And so right now, obviously, all the focus is on Warehouse 10. But absolutely, we're going to make a commitment to the board to continue our presence inside Warehouse 9. Obviously, community partnerships, UWF, Pensacola State are so important to us. And so to be able to work in one of the warehouses that they have a presence in at the same time is really going to help their internships. So at the moment, we'll have a presence in 2 buildings, but let's see how it all grows over the next 12 months. And you never know, you might see another building out there.
All right, so let me take one more step. It's me. So the other piece is, so what's the difference? What's 9 doing for you now? And we know in 10 that you're in the headquarters. What's the difference in the 2?
Yeah. Fundamentally, it's space. Okay, so everything that we are going to manufacture or design will come out of 10. Now, a lot of what we will do in 9 will be storage, but it will also be training. So inside 9, probably 12 months ago now, we made a commitment to do quite a significant upgrade in there, and we'll keep that part of the shed so that as we're doing training programs, UWF, Pensacola State, all the rest of these people, we have a facility inside there that we have an aerospace grade clean room in that facility, and we can still use that. And the beauty of that is ultimately some of the projects that we're working on inside 10, have quite tough security IP that we need to adhere to. The fact that we have 9 right next to it means that we can still be training up the next generation and basically bringing, a lot of people through training on the part that doesn't cross over with what we're doing in 10. So ultimately, right now, we're going to end up with at least half of 9. Sorry, you really got on the spot here. And 10, but I see a lot of growth out there at the port. I completely agree with what DC says about the port. You've got to remember our organisation is a small part of the ecosystem out there, but at the same time, we bring charter ships into that port that take stevedore unloads for us when we're moving boats around the world. Last year, SailGP were looking for a location to go in the whole world, okay? And they just left San Francisco and they ring up, where can we go? We know straight away we can bring the port office. Okay, can a charter ship come in here? Can we unload? Can we bring them here? And they chose Pensacola as a destination ultimately because of the commitment this city made to the team. And I think those phone calls are going to keep coming in. We're going to keep growing with the port. Obviously, we have an amazing relationship with the city and the port, and we're going to keep fostering that.
Great. Mayor, how does WAVE, UWF's WAVE program, does that fit into 9, or are they going to be in a separate building?
Well, actually, way back when, different aspects of this feel like 10 years ago, but in the early conversations, actually how we wrote the WAVE lease was for it to be nimble. So it wasn't static that you're in this corner of warehouse 9. We actually wrote it as, here's how much square feet that you have, but you got to be able to work with it. You might go to 8, you might go to 9 type of thing, and then there's certain expectations. We did it because of exactly what you just asked about previously, which is, hey, we don't want to be landlocked or to be able to if there's more job creation that can happen at 9, we don't want to stop that if we can move them around. So my hope, I think, just as the mayor of the city, is as close as we can have students right next to Tyson's employees. That's the best. And I use the airport as another example. It's one thing to say you have MRO training. It's another to say it's right next to the hangar. And I think if I'm an 18, 19, 20-year-old kid, there's going to be I can sit in a classroom or I can sit next to Tyson's team. That's going to really change, I think, my motivation and my engagement in wanting to do this for a living. So I'm just a big believer in having as much personal, close connection as we can have with PSC, UWF, and American Magic, the better. So that will work itself out organically, and our lease allows that to happen. But I know we're aligned. With American Magic and ourselves, we're aligned in that mission to get UWF as close as possible.
Mayor, I got a question for Tyson. The average citizen, the mayor talked about the maritime legacy, snapper, lumber, things like that. Could you tick off real quick what skill sets are involved in what your team is striving to perfect? I know mayor's mentioned electronics, composites, things like that. Could you give the public an idea of these type of skill sets?
I actually think that's the beauty of our organisation and what we've evolved into. So those skill sets could go from an Olympic gold medalist, okay, on one end of the team, okay? And so we can have team members that have won multiple gold medals. And on the other end of the team, we can go all the way over to, okay, we are, doing an apprenticeship program for composite technicians. So ultimately, those composite technicians would be in our manufacturing side of the team. They'll be laying up, whether it be boat parts for high-performance raised boats or aerospace parts within the same building. And I think that's the beauty of what this facility has turned into. Yes, we still have the high-end performance focus of, okay, we want to make sure that we're at the top of the sailing game. But at the same time, we have those internship level roles that we can bring in: composite manufacturing, hydraulic systems, electronic systems, control systems, design, engineering, all under one roof. And this is one thing that we'll get talked about a lot tomorrow. You guys get a bit of a sneak peek, but there is no other facility in the world that has all of this under one roof. Okay, and just think about that for a second. In Pensacola, Florida, we have a facility that we can design, we can manufacture, and we can launch and sail high-performance race boats out of. Okay, and to be fair, if it wasn't for all these people standing behind me, we wouldn't have that right now. And if these guys didn't do all the hard work, obviously on their side, getting this off the ground, we wouldn't have it. So for us as an organisation, we're so proud. Every day I walk down the hallway in that building, I sort of pinch myself to see what we've created in Pensacola. And we're very happy that we have a long-term lease with the city, and we expect to be there for every single year of that lease.
So things that you used to do in Rhode Island, like sail making and stuff, will you make sails here in Pensacola?
Absolutely. And so just to be clear, in the last America's Cup, we built our boat in Rhode Island. All of our sailing ops was based out of Pensacola. We didn't sail there all last Spring's Cup. All of our sales were finished either in Pensacola or in Barcelona, Spain. And so, going forward, all of that will be here. The sale loft that we have over here, Pensacola, Florida, is probably the 4th biggest sale loft in America. Okay, and you think about that, like we put that sale loft together, obviously with Green Hut Construction side, but we put it together just to service our race team. But at the same time, in the commercial market, it can be used. We have a 72-foot high-performance catamaran right now sitting out of Palafox, and their sales have been up in that sale loft. So I think what we've got down there in the port now is a facility that ultimately is able to be utilised across all aspects of the sport of sailing, in the aerospace game and also in the defence game. And that, that's another industry we're working really hard on. Okay, how can we bring our technology to the defence industry? And we have a lot of people coming tomorrow from that industry, and we have some follow-up meetings after that. But we're definitely looking at, okay, ultimately we are the hub down here. So how can we get the technology from our facility going out to other yards, whether it be, shipbuilding, whether it's right here in Pensacola, at the port of Pensacola, with some of the options the guys are looking at, or other areas of the country. But by doing that here, what that means is UWF, Pensacola State, our engineers are coming in to mentor these students, and ultimately the pipeline's coming local. And that's what we love. And everywhere we go to in the world, we sit there and pinch ourselves how supportive this community is here in Pensacola, and so we're so fortunate. Thank you.
And one question from Mayor, Mayor, this seems to be very consistent with the Moffett-Nichols vision that the city purchased from them. In terms of their recommendation or their vision for this hybrid port, what are the next steps beyond what has been accomplished up to now?
Well, I feel like, and as you'll start to learn in the next couple of weeks, more details around Project Maeve, I think what we've been able to do is get intentional about, and really, for my frequent sports analogy, play some offense, and not just say necessarily, hey, who wants to come to us, or, who wants to pay 1 cent more in lease or anything. That's not the mission. When you have 50 acres, the heart of a downtown, every puzzle piece matters, every single one. You don't have hundreds of acres or thousands of acres. And I mean that on many fronts, not just who can, again, if we're only focused on what's the highest maximum lease rate that we can get per square foot out there, then we're missing the mark, because at the end of the day, that isn't going to be what changes our community. What changes our community is high-paying jobs. And if you pay a cent less per square foot, but you're creating 200 more jobs, that is the net benefit. And I always use the GE example. GE's got 500 jobs, but when you look at the impact of the port and other places, it helps generate about 2,200 jobs. So it's well beyond the job count on Scenic Highway. It's the reverberating impact. And so, I think our formula is pretty simple, which is we've got to be intentional about every puzzle piece that we have, and to find the harmony between cargo, between maritime technology. And so I think this project, as the kickoff to that, is really narrowed our scope into understanding that these are finite and that we have to maximize economic opportunity with every decision that we make. We don't have the luxury to say, well, we've got 3,000 acres out here, let's take a chance on this or take a chance on that. I think we've got to be very intentional, and make no doubt about it. American Magic deciding to come here and the reputation that they have and the credibility it brings is most certainly helping our phone ring more frequently, because when you see a organization of that stature come here and say, we're going to put our world headquarters here as one of the most advanced sailing teams in the world, I think that sends a pretty strong message to the entire industry. So I expect our phones to continue to ring more fervently than they ever have before. Anything else on this? Unless you want to ask them about Palafox Street, they're free to go. Thank you guys. Thank you to our team for helping make this happen. Nothing to, and Tyson, if you have a few minutes, we'll have Tyson stick around too as well, or some of our folks that grab them. I only have a few things for you. Palafox obviously is underway, not any major substantive development of anything that you don't already know. We do know that the fencing could go up as soon as today.
It is going up now.
There you go. You heard it here first. Yeah, my update from 2 hours ago is we expected it today. So it should be up or starting to be up now. And you know, all the reminders fully, Palafox is fully accessible. I'm certainly encouraged about the speed and aggressiveness of which we said we were going to start January 5th, and we darn sure started January 5th. And I appreciate Site Utility, Adrian, our business owners. I was able to go to lunch at one of the businesses downtown yesterday. I told you I'd be down there more often, and it was busy. And I was proud of that in the sense of seeing the community respond, and that they're reading the news and they want these businesses to the same way I do to be successful. Obviously, I was very cognizant of the foot traffic and what did I see out down there yesterday, and I was very happy and encouraged to see how many people were out versus a normal first week of January Monday. I thought that was great. Hopefully, we can continue to continue that momentum for the next few months. We got some other questions just on the free parking. I'm letting our citizens know free parking maps are up on the new palafox.com and on parkpensacola.com. We've shared them out on social media where those 412 free parking spaces are. And then also the new parade route. We've got some questions about that. Obviously, with the parade's coming up here this month and next month, going down Jefferson Street. People want to know exactly where that parade route's going to go. Those maps are up on the new palafox.com as well. And after I get through these few things, Adrian is here to answer any questions that you have. And I'm happy to bring her up. The Portland Loos, they are installed at MLK Plaza and at the skate park. They will be open to the public on Tuesday. So just because they're down, doesn't mean you want to flush anything yet. You gotta make sure it's connected to sewer. So we've spent the last few days. You see them there; they're already in place, but we're just getting them ready to go.
So it's next week, next
Tuesday. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, not today, Tuesday.
Yeah.
7 days from now, Tuesday, the 13th. The Pensacola Police Public Forum. We closed the forum to submit questions for the police chief, and we'll compile those submitted questions and have them prepared for the public forum also on Tuesday at 5:30 at the Sanger. It just closed yesterday, so I don't. If you ask me how many questions, all that, I just don't have that information yet. We'll get it to you to see what kind of activity that we had on that. And lastly, yesterday we have our new PIO, Shannon Dickinson, in the back. Yesterday was her first day of orientation, and her city email address is now set up. So just encourage the media and Shannon to connect if you don't already know her. I assume you do. And make sure you got her PNJ email so you can find us in the middle of the night. We can find you. So glad to have her on board. And that's all I've got. Take your questions, and again, if it's anything technical on the Palafox side, we'll bring Adrian up.
This one's actually on red light cameras. It is early in the new year, but I think when last we checked in with you, which I believe was in November, the bad news that the red light cameras were probably not slowing down the violations, that we were finding out people just do it. And at that time, I think there was a discussion about what would be the next steps come the new year. Is there any plan moving forward yet, or have you had time to look at that?
A couple of updates. I'm actually glad you brought that up because one thing that could potentially cause confusion. The police will be giving an update, and it's part of a requirement to give an update. I don't know whose requirement it is, if it's the state or something like that. Remember, the state gets the lion's share of the revenue of the red light camera. So they have to give an update. So they will give one. Where the confusion could happen is people may assume that that's up to the day. There's a certain reporting period that ends in July. So they will be reporting to council on basically what the first 3 months of the red light cameras were. So if someone goes to that meeting and doesn't understand that, they're going to say, oh, here's all the violations. Well, no, that was only for the first 3 months, basically. It's that July reporting period. So they'll be reporting on that with that data. And then secondly, once we have a full year, obviously we've got some changes happening in the police department, that's kind of taken the lion's share of our time, but we're going to analyze that, and we'll always do what we said when we talked about parking, when we talked about red light cameras is let's get data, let's assess what makes sense, and then move forward. Actually I was driving by 9th and Bayou yesterday, and one of the other thoughts we had is I think there's plenty of room for opportunity to make intersections safe that aren't just almost like we talked about before. It's not whether you have them or you don't. For example, should we make the signage more prominent? Which I know would fly in the face of the conspiracy that we only want revenue. No, what we want is people to stop at the light. Can we make it more clear? Now at 9th and Bayou, it's pretty clear. And their signage is regulated at every one of those intersections. But we're not trying to trick anybody. What we're saying is don't break the law. It's a very simple request. But if we've got to put 2 signs, we have a graffiti bridge and it has signs too. It keeps getting hit. So we may look at nuance things like that. Is there something else that we could do to make it more prominent? We haven't had any substantive discussions around those tactics, but again, I want to sit down with our police department and assess exactly what's going on. And also remember, there's a couple other factors to the impact of red light cameras. Number one is we can't assume that one red light camera and its result is the same as another. First of all, as we saw, there's significantly more red lights run in front of the Bay Center than any other approach in the city. It's not even close. So every intersection is different, but also the analysis I'm going to be asking for from our team is what is the impact of crashes around the entire city? Because one of my favorite pieces of feedback that I get when someone asks me about the red light cameras, they're like, well, I don't remember which light it's at. So I always, now I got to stop at every red light. It's like, oh man, God forbid. It's like, is it 12th and Bayou or 9th and Bayou? I'm like, I'm not sure. Why don't you stop at both? I think that matters too. Is that just the presence? If we went out and said we're gonna have a huge initiative to slow down speeding all around the city, and we're gonna put people all over the place for the month of February. If we said that, well, maybe tickets go up, maybe tickets go down, but you might see a general slowing just because of the threat, the fact that it's there. So I want to look beyond just saying, hey, what happened at this one intersection in 10 months of time? I always point to Gold Breeze. Gold Breeze had stopped in 10 months because their traffic data said this or their number of red lights said that. What's the perception of going through Gold Breeze right now? They've done a great job. They pushed through that, and now everybody in this community knows not to run that red light. Tyson lives out there. He might run it. I'm not sure how many tickets he's got, but it takes some time to build that as well. So we don't want to overreact to anything. We're not going to say here's 6 months of data, so let's take this one at this intersection down. I don't think we're going to do that, but we're always open-minded to how we adjust it. And if ultimately that's what it calls for, moving to a different intersection, taking one down. I said it was a pilot. We'll certainly treat it that way, but I'll let our experts at the police department, take a look at that and certainly meet with the camera company and all that. They have national data to compare it to. So analysis to come.
Mayor, Congressman Byron Donald said last week in South Florida that he was opposed to red light cameras and all electronic surveillance gadgets on the grounds that it takes freedom away from Floridians. What's your reaction to the congressman's thinking about that?
Well, I'm not going to react specifically to Byron, but the conversation as a whole, listen, I can see both sides of that. On one hand, people worry about that. On the other hand, I also think it's, we're in 2026 now, and I can't walk my dog down the street without being on everybody's Ring camera, on everybody. We also have to understand this is a society that we live in now. And I just saw the sheriff, which congratulations to him, mention the crime reduction. You're seeing massive crime reductions happening all over the country. And I I think it's no other reason than the advancement of technology. So this is a much larger than one person or one comment or one tactic like cameras, a philosophical debate of do we like being in a safer community where someone might see me on a Ring camera, or would I not want to be seen on a Ring camera, but maybe someone breaks in my house? So for me, you can tell I'm more on I'm willing to live with a little bit of technology advancement to make our community safer, because I think that should always be our number one goal. But that's where we are. I don't have time to go watch red light cameras. I don't care who. What I want is people to not run red light, and none of us. As a matter of fact, one of the things we got to work through with red light cameras is we're getting so many people running red lights that it's taking so much bandwidth at the police department that we got to figure out. So we do not have time to be watching anybody, and so I get all the conspiratorial kind of conversations. I just mean as a whole, not in the city out there. But I'm just a believer that the advancement of technology has lowered crime significantly across the board in big cities and in small cities. And I don't think that that's a coincidence. I think it's because if you know that you're going to do something that you shouldn't be doing, and it's more likely that it's going to be caught on camera, then you're less likely to do it. So that's where I'm at.
So originally, Mayor, the idea of the cameras was first to reduce bandwidth at the police department on investigating crashes at these intersections, and also the safety aspect. Has the goal changed now?
No, I mean, I would inverse that. I would say the number one goal is not have anybody die at intersections or get injured at what we know for a fact are our largest traffic crash problem intersections. That was goal number 1, 2, and 3. After that, remember, it wasn't so much an officer bandwidth issue. I would reframe it this way. We don't have enough officers to sit at our 5 problem intersections 24 hours a day. We don't have enough 160 plus sworn officers. We don't have enough people to administer that consistently. Secondly, Ninth and Bayou for a human in a police vehicle is almost impossible to enforce. So they can sit at the Publix parking lot or the KFC parking lot or the Cordova Mall parking lot, watch someone run the light and not be able to get to them. So there's functional reasons why we can't enforce it on top of bandwidth reasons. So the bandwidth that we're talking about now that we want to right size is we said that a human is going to review every one of these video tickets to make sure. So it's not just the camera or, hey, you got my trailer by 1 inch. Well, then we're going to look at that. That's certainly what we pledged to do. And so that's where I think the bandwidth is. But back to Laura's question, another part of the analysis is if there were 10 traffic crashes 2 years ago at Ninth Bayou, and these numbers I'm just making up, and then there's 10 this year, how many were injuries that had to go to the hospital? How many were fatality? Are we talking about a fender bender because someone decided to not run the red light, or are we talking about a T-bone, where there were cause for injury? So, I mean, in my mind, the analysis is much more nuanced than, I'll take 10 fender benders with 0 injuries compared to 10 T-bone accidents with 6 injuries in it. I think that would be a huge win, even though it would show on paper that there was the same number of crashes. So those are the things that we want to look into, is how serious are they and all that. Anything else? All right, Tyson's here if you guys need to grab him or our team. But thank you guys so much. See you tomorrow.